Next up, taking a peek at the steering wheel for the vehicle. So this is going to be a full walk around of the steering wheel as well as the little cluster screen there. But let's dive into it. So the cluster does technically have two available choices for the color. So we've got our base black color, but we've got the flexibility of changing around the color scheme if we want to. So on our Sync 4 media screen, we press the little car icon along the top. We're going to go into our settings. We're going to scroll all the way down to, not all the way down, but we're going to go to our display, and we've got our instrument cluster. So we've got either the auto, light, or dark mode. Auto means that it's automatically going to jump us between either the dark or the light mode, just depending on how bright it is outside. But we can also permanently lock the day or the nighttime mode out there as well, just depending on what you like the look of. And that's the same way for this Sync 4 screen. But if you want to walk around on that screen and figure out how everything works, check down below for that walkthrough on that Sync 4 media screen. But let's dive into this and figure out exactly what we need to know. So some base things along the very bottom left-hand side, we can see our current range as well as our current battery percentage. So we can see exactly how charged up we are. We've got our sensing system there on top of that. So one of the cool things is that we do have a few different options for the actual sensors. So we can turn this lane keeping system on, off, etc. As you can tell, obviously the system's off, but we turn it back on. Once we hit 64 kilometers an hour, the system's going to go green. So it's going to let us know that it's recognized the lane markings. And then as we start to veer over, so if we veer over without signaling, we can also set it up so we get either a steering wheel shake, we get a little gentle nudge back into our lane, or it does a mixture of both of them. But what's going to happen is as you start to veer over into a lane without signaling, the way that we're going, so if we're veering to the right, it's going to go yellow and then red on this side. And then what that means is it's going to then gently either nudge you back into your lane, do a mixture of both, or obviously if you've got the system off, nothing will happen instead. So you've got quite a few different options that are available there, and you can turn that system on or off, as I mentioned, just by pressing this button along the very bottom. As you can see, we're also in miles per hour and the kilometers per hour, and we can easily adjust that again through this cluster, through the media screen. So we can adjust whatever we'd like to there. We also do have our current gear that we're in. So we've got our park, reverse, neutral, drive. We've got our low gear there as well. So you can see there. And then we've also got the auto hold setting that's currently turned on. So one of the cool things about the auto hold setting is that if we take our foot off the brake, it's going to hold the car in place. So it's a very, very smart system there. As you can see, we can also look into neutral there. So we've got a few different options that are available, throwing ourselves back into park again. So very, very straightforward. We've got the direction that we're facing. We've got the vehicle's ready status. The lane keeping system you can see is turned on there. So a few different ways that it's going to show that it's on, as well as our current odometer reading. So we've got our range on the left, we've got our current odometer on the bottom right-hand side of that screen. So really, really nice that we've got that as an available option inside the vehicle. Now the whole steering wheel itself is actually going to be a manual telescoping. So just down by our left knee, we've got a little lever there. We're just going to click that, and then it's forwards, backwards, up and down as necessary. I'm just going to take that bad boy, click it in order to lock it back into place. So very, very straightforward. And stick on the left-hand side, we can either easily flash our high beams out if we want to. Stick on the right-hand side, we can control what's going on with our windshield wipers for the front and then for the rear. So there's a little tip on that right stick to turn that system on or off as necessary. Pad on the left-hand side is going to be for our adaptive cruise control system. So you can see the system turned on there as we press the button on the left-hand side, and then we can either increase or decrease 1 kilometer or 1 mile per hour at a time just by moving this up and down as necessary. Turn the whole system on off. There's a button on this side of it there, and that's going to be our distance indicator. So how close or how far are we away from the vehicle that's in front of us? I want you to kind of think of it like that old school, like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi rule. So it is kind of nice that we've got that as an available option. And then as I mentioned, we do have our lane keeping system that we can toggle on or off as well. And then we can turn the whole adaptive cruise system on or off. So we do have quite a few different options available there. Along the right-hand side, we've got our voice command prompt. So we'd be able to do things like change songs, radio stations. We can navigate using our voice. But one of the great things about the Sync 4 system is that we can also have it set up so that it'll listen for a wake word. So in this case, I've got it set up so that if we say, "Okay, Ford," this is going to turn on automatically as well. So we do have the flexibility through the screen in order to be able to set that up, but it is nice. We can just do a button press instead if we want to. We do also have the option of answering or hanging up on a phone call. We can change between active sources, or active songs, I should say. So if we go audio on for a second there, we can then just do a press there in order to jump between our active presets. So you can see it kind of jumping in between presets there. Or we can do a press and hold if we want to seek that way instead. So it's just a long press and hold there, which is great. So nice and simple to be able to use. Now, one of the good, NPR, nice, all right. And one of the cool things is that we can use this in order to activate our Siri and Google Assistant. So if we were connected through Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, we can just do a longer press there in order to activate Siri or Google instead, which is amazing. Now, doing a quick little horn test. Now, one other thing to point out, using the voice command prompt, we can do things like change songs, radio stations, things like that, but we can also navigate using our voice. So watch this. Navigate to Tim Hortons.
Please choose. Starting route to Tim Hortons. Please drive to highlighted route.
Boom. So as you can see there, right in the middle screen, it also lets us know a few different things. So it tells us along the far side there in the middle, how long we have in order for the route to be completed, and then what turn are we going to do. So we're driving straight right now, but it's going to let us know, do we go left, right, whatever the case may be. And then moving over to the side screen there, as you can see, it activates the map for us, and we can easily cancel out the route. So we do have quite a few different options available. Now, you might also see these two little purple things that are kind of highlighting there. It's actually the BlueCruise feature. So this thing does have the BlueCruise feature built in, which is essentially going to be hands-free driving. Now, unfortunately, I haven't been in a vehicle that's not sold yet for the 22, so I can't show you how the BlueCruise feature works, but it's very straightforward. It's essentially the adaptive cruise control system on steroids, because the adaptive cruise, we technically do need to keep our hands on the wheel, but with the BlueCruise, it's a completely hands-free driving experience instead. So once I have the opportunity to use the BlueCruise feature, absolutely we'll put a video together for it. If that video is available, check down in the description below, because I will have it come up as an available option for you to watch. Now, outside of that, the steering wheel itself is very nice. We've got a nice leather feel. We do have the option of turning on the heated steering wheel just on that Sync 4 media screen along the very bottom there, but it's going to be heated all around, and it's really, really nice. But that's everything that you need to know about the steering wheel and the cluster screen inside of the 2022 Mustang Mach E.